Hello. Hi, Jane. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, just since we have a few minutes before we start, Jane, do you want to help out with the book sale at all tomorrow? I'm going to ask you to unmute. You're muted again, sorry.
There, I do need help, or at least what time do you need help?
I think they're mostly okay. So you don't, if you're busy tomorrow, you don't have to, but Diana did ask. I mean, you're very helpful when you come. So I think they have enough people for setup and breakdown. So it's more kind of like in the middle hours, like 11-ish, noonish, around there.
Sure, I can come over then. I don't.
It's your
11-ish?
fault for being good, Jane. It's your.
Yeah, if it's
job.
if it's raining too, we're gonna need a lot less people. So just if the weather's bad, I mean, come and shop, obviously, because we got a lot of donations, but don't feel like you have to cashier or help out.
Okay, no, I'll come, 11-ish. It's good, or even
Looking for
earlier.
the 3D print jobs? So they're upstairs. They're underneath the holds pickup area. There's a bag with your name on it. Okay, yeah.
What is there?
So I'm at the library right now and I'm in the teen room and somebody was coming to pick up 3D prints. So we have like we're launching a form that people have to fill out, and then now there's a whole process for picking your print jobs up because people are coming in right before we close and they're asking us to do really complicated 3D prints. And I was here last Saturday and we got 2 of them and one person wanted 2 things at 4:30. So that was, she's coming in to pick up the job and I said it's upstairs, which we told her, but I think it's the mother of a kid. So
Yeah. Well, the weather says it's 50% chance of rain from 10 to, wait a minute, from 8 to 10, and then it drops down under 20%. So hopefully it'll stop raining right around the time of your sale. And my day is so in flux, I have no idea what's going on tomorrow. If I have time, I'll just come over, but I have no idea.
yeah, I think honestly, Diana's saying the number one thing she needs are people to come and shop. So just tell your friends, remind everybody that it's happening, you know.
Hi, David. Hi, Kim.
Hello.
David, I'm sorry. I saw you raise your hand. I didn't forget about you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm having trouble getting hooked up here. Start video,
Is Janet coming?
start my video.
It's on. You're on,
Okay,
David.
got it. Thank you.
I believe Janet's gonna come.
Okay. I just didn't know if she was coming or not.
I don't know, Jane, if you want to get started, because you have
Okay.
quorum, and Janet can just kind of hop
Okay.
on.
Sure.
Oh, hold on, I'm gonna put us on YouTube. I think I can do it today.
Woohoo.
Don't quote me.
Well, it says it's recording. We'll
Oh.
just put it back.
Yeah, it is prompting me for a notification thing, so, yeah, could just go ahead, Jane.
So, I guess I'd like to call to order the meeting of the library trustees on June 9th, 2023 at 11 a.m. Remote participation. Do I have to read this, agenda thing pursuant to chapter 20?
No, not anymore. No.
Okay, so, let's jump right into the minutes. And I had a couple of comments.
You have to call attendance, I think, for the minutes, right? Or for the,
Oh, okay, sorry. All
Yeah,
right,
just a roll call of who's here.
okay, roll call, Amy Yazdani,
here.
David Ekberg,
Here,
Kim Regan,
Here.
and Jane Davis, I'm here, and Janet will be coming, we hope, so. All right, so it's 11:02. Now, can we check the minutes, approval of the minutes?
11:02, yeah. And Janet's in the attendees, I think. She's trying to come
Okay.
on.
All right, great. So there are a couple typos and comma things, but nothing, I found that under commission, she's had forgotten the second M. In, whatever that was, the title of it. Anyway,
where are you,
and-
please?
Pardon me? Where is it?
Referring to?
Library
In it.
Facade Restoration Preservation Commission. It was just she needed an extra, yes. And in a couple of,
Oh, yeah, good catch.
and then the expense report, I thought if you added in, I think it's the third sentence, starting with 1 page, staff members working extra. I think hours should be put in there. It just said working extra through the summer. So I would put the word hours. I assume she's working extra hours.
Yes,
Makes sense.
that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. And that's about it. A couple of comma things which won't change the meaning of anything. Does anyone else have any corrections, edits?
I just had a
subtractions?
question on the 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth paragraph on the second page, Community Exploration Committee. I didn't quite understand. It says, committee discuss the library using space in Finn School as an ancillary space or as a temporary location during construction. I guess this is not this is a question of substance. So are we really thinking about using the Finn School?
Well, the committee's looking at, remember that we were looking at moving groups into the Woodward School?
You're
We
right.
moved
Yeah.
on from that. The state didn't like that at all because it's a fairly new school, but they loved the idea of our repurposing Finn. Because it's older and whatever. So we are looking at Finn, the committee is looking at Finn as, place for rec and senior center, and it's one of the potential options. So I don't think we're looking at the potential of moving the whole library there, but maybe offering ancillary services there, like a small, whatever. It's one of the things being considered.
Yeah.
This is
You know-
also on the agenda, so maybe we could just discuss that as part of that line item instead.
Okay, but if you think the minutes are unclear, then should we add something in there or?
Well, it's for the future. It's not imminent, right?
Right,
Maybe something like that, just.
Yeah.
As a temporary location during. What is this, ancillary space or as a temp, in the coming months or in the future, something like that. Would that make it more clear? Anyone?
I think so, yes.
Okay,
Okay. So let's just say in the coming months, if it's, all right,
good suggestion, Jane. I think that adds clarity.
and actually, there was one more thing. It was about selling the tickets for the Rotary, where was that? They gave permission, this is under community partnership programs. The library gave permission, the trustees gave permission for the library to sell Trottier's talent show. I just thought that sounded like the library was responsible for the tickets.
Oh.
And
Yeah, so it should be allowed Rotary to sell tickets at the library. That would probably make it more
Yeah.
accurate.
for the Rotary to, yeah. Okay, should I change that or are you changing it?
Yeah, I'll watch the video back and then I'll make the edits, Jane.
Okay.
That we discussed in the meeting.
I mean, I know we weren't, it just was, that's more clear the way you said it, Ryan.
Yeah.
Okay, so as amended, let's vote on the approval of the minutes from May 12th.
Okay, I motion that we take them as amended. Is that good?
Yes, thank
Trying
you.
to help Jane.
I
second,
know, I'm a little tired, yes. Okay, so moved, David Eckberg,
Did we get a second?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Janet seconded.
Okay, I,
Janet Maney,
aye,
Amy Estani,
Aye.
Kim Reagan,
Aye.
Jane Davis, aye. So the minutes from May 12th are accepted, approved as of, with the amendments. Okay, this is awkward, sorry, I'm not great. Okay, so let's move to the director's report. Thought it was pretty clear. Do you want to speak on that, Ryan, at all?
I always say I'm gonna be quick. So I don't know if I should keep making those promises. I would say one of the big things that we have to talk about is there's a note in the programs and outreach section about recreation. So I know normally we don't advertise things on the library's lawn. So they do have something advertising the concert series. They did kind of reach out to us ahead of time. Currently, the thing is at the senior center. But I would like to give them the permission to use the library lawn, if that's okay with all of you.
For the concerts?
Yeah, they've invited us to have a presence at the concerts and to, kind of do like little mini library outreach visits each of the nights. And then, Recreation has been a good partner over the past couple of years. They're still helping us manage a lot of our registrations. So it does feel like there's a synergy between the two departments. Kim is going to be at the camps this year too, doing story times. And then we've also started preliminary conversations. There's a grant that the town got to have a dog park. But they're going to need to get some community feedback before proceeding. And they've asked if they could do some open forums at the library. So, I know the concert is more specific, but it's really up to you guys. I would recommend that we allow it, but if you have concerns, I think this is a good time to discuss it.
I
I
think
think it's fine.
It's fine
Yeah.
with me.
I think it's fine.
where is it?
What?
Hasn't it been like at the Neary School up till now?
Yeah. It's
I
big
didn't know
crowds,
how, I
isn't
thought it was a big crowd I have
Yeah.
never, been, but I thought they
think-
got big crowds.
That's what I thought too, and they
And
had
parking and
fireworks and things like that. What kind of concerts are these? Just,
So Dave
What-
Garden, who does music programs at the library periodically for young children, he has a band called Hit the Bus. They, I believe, are kicking off the concert series. They usually, it's usually like the same couple bands. Sometimes they try to get one or two other ones, but it's mostly like acoustic and it's like family friendly type of music. So it's just, I have been to one of them. I actually went and did do a library outreach visit last year at one of the concerts. But the idea is that we could have a more regular presence at them as
Right.
long as staffing allows. And I think we will have somebody this summer who would volunteer to go. So
Is
How-
is
how
the
big a
lawn
crowd
big
is
enough?
it?
Is it,
So are
yeah,
they asking to have the concert on library grounds?
no, no,
No,
no,
just
they're
the
just
sign.
asking for a sign on the lawn.
Yeah,
That's
no,
all.
that's.
Oh,
Still in
okay.
here.
I thought the
Okay.
concert was there, yeah.
'cause
The
I-
Okay, I
sign-
thought you
I'm
were
sorry,
talking
that
about having
wasn't
a
clear.
concert there.
No,
Yeah.
no,
So
no,
did
no.
I.
I'm,
Yeah,
yeah, I
that's what it-
apologize. This wasn't clear. So they're asking to put a sign on the lawn, not hold a concert on the lawn.
No, you said if recreation is asked if they can advertise the concerts on the lawn. Well, yes.
Right.
And what would there be on the library table at the concert?
So we would have information on the library's open hours. We have the everything we need to know about the library sign, the little trifold thing that we developed. Information about the Friends would probably be there as well if people wanted to contribute there. So things like that. The other thing we'll probably do is reach out to the Friends group. They usually take the summer off, but if there are people who want to be involved and would want to go with a library staff member to the booth, there has been some synergy there recently with the Finn Early Elementary Fair. Beth Mello was there the whole day with some library part-time staff. So she was kind of doing the Friends piece and they were doing the library staff side. So I kind of like the idea of doing collaborative community events. I think, again, Rec has been a good partner to us. That's kind of what I wanted to emphasize. And they don't really ask us for a whole lot at the end of the day. So if they want to I think it's just to promote that the dates, the concerts are happening and then what is going to be playing when. It's not a big sign from what I understand.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I
That
think,
does sound good, yes.
and it's
Go
another
ahead.
town department, so we're not just advertising for anybody. It gives us, a place to point, should we be asked for other organizations, so that's.
Yeah.
that's fine.
The reason I'm asking is because we did explicitly say library, the library lawn is for library only. So just, I do want to come to you guys if we do get a request like this so that you can discuss it. We can go over any concerns before I grant the entity the permission. So it sounds like that it's okay.
Yeah,
It
we
is
want to be a
okay.
good citizen of the town too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, right. Well, and the collaboration between departments is
Yeah,
very
Okay.
positive.
I think you'll make the rec director very happy. So thank you all. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. I think people who've come in on a regular basis. I know Mr. Ekberg has probably seen it. There's been some HVAC hiccups, as I feel like there always is at the beginning of the summer. So it does look like things are going okay so far at the end of this week. So probably my famous last words. We'll see how things go at the beginning of next week. It does seem like it likes to break over the weekend and on Monday. So it ends up being something that we deal with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The thing I also need to kind of go over with you is the Mary Fay Fund. If we want to, if you guys want to vote to allocate the money in order to do that. So somebody would have to make a motion to allow us to expend any educational supply items for materials expenditures over the budget out of the Mary Fay Fund.
So I move
Up
that,
to a specific amount?
You could do that. The Mary Fay Fund has, I think, right now over $10,000. So we are not going to spend that much. Every year that the trustees have authorized this, we haven't had to go into that account. The one thing I did note is because of the overdrive expenditures that we're looking to do potentially for the summer reading list, for 14 titles, we're talking about $900. So that gives you an idea of how much ebooks cost and why, if we go that route, we would need to look at using a supplemental account to augment materials.
Well, isn't the Fay account strictly for books and library materials? So I think we talked about this in an earlier meeting, that we can dip into that because it's
Yeah.
so, the account is restricted. So that's really
Yeah.
all we can spend it on, the Mary
Yeah,
Kay.
and since it's for books and electronic books are a form of book, it does qualify as a expenditure. But this could be, we could spend the overdrive money out of some of the remaining budget money. And then if we get bills that trickle in over the next couple weeks and we're at the capacity, I think we're kind of in a good shape for the end of the year spending. We have about, as of the expense report, there was about 4,700 left in the materials money. And then right now upstairs, I have about $700 in bills to spend. And then I would say with all of the end of the year orders, we're kind of right on track. So I'm pretty comfortable. I won't use the Fay Fund unless I have to. And then I will also report on this in July so that you guys will have an updated.
So do we need to vote? I mean, well, David, you mentioned with a cap on how much.
Well, I'm just curious, you satisfied me, and again, this gets to whether or not we just simply trust Ryan to use his good common sense, so I'm happy to just leave it the way it is.
You're fine with the electronic books, but isn't this an ebook, the ebooks that she wants to buy that are so expensive? For Mary
Yeah,
Ellen?
it's based off the Trodio reading list that we've
Mm.
received. So it's books that they're viewing. We've also gotten the sophomore Algonquin list as well, which is real. It's only 8 books, but as I mentioned, 14 books were $900 to try. I think some of them we got 2 copies. So you know, this gets very expensive very fast when you're talking about ebook purchasing. That's part of the reason we're having this conversation.
I think it makes sense, especially to support summer reading, because a lot of students do look to ebooks to read. And I think that it's fine. I think it was last year we talked about the use of the Mary Fay Fund for ebooks, and we decided that that was fine since it's still a book. And I think it just makes sense at this point in the year where we don't want to get bills that come in, too late. So I think it makes sense to approve his use of the Mary Fay Fund. If someone feels like we should add some sort of cap, that's fine with me. But I mean, it doesn't seem like we've used it very much in the past at all. So I think it's fine to just give Ryan the option just as the fiscal year closes and before we can start ordering under the new fiscal year.
I withdraw my suggestion. I'm very happy to just let Ryan use his good judgment.
Agreed.
I think it's a good conversation to have, though, David, is to talk about what would kind of the final expenditure be. And what I can tell is I'll bring back to the board next month what the kind of wrap up was. I usually do an expense report both for the beginning of the year, which is not very exciting because we've maybe done one payable. And then I do like a recap of the fiscal year. I will say, just because we're kind of on the financial stuff now, is that for office supplies, we had 1 cent left in that line item. And then for I think it was the subscriptions, we had 44 cents. So those are always amounts I'm proud to report. That means we really spent down those line items as much as possible.
Right.
Yeah, so.
So do we have to
do
actually
you think
take a
we need
vote
to
on this, or?
Take a vote on it?
So traditionally you do. I mean, you can always, I think, give me the flexibility to do it if that's what the board so chooses. But I always think it's good to have this discussion and then to have you guys take a formal vote, if you'll entertain that, just on approval of using that fund for the end of the fiscal year. But it's completely up to you.
I think we should vote. Would someone like to move to take a vote on this?
I'll move that we vote on this.
Second,
Do we need to be more
Somebody?
specific?
could you please, could one of the 3 of you second the motion?
Second,
Thank you. David Eckberg,
Aye.
Janet Maney,
aye.
Amy Asdani,
Aye.
Kim Reagan,
Aye.
Jane Davis, aye. So the motion passes So
Yeah.
Ryan has discretion on using the Mary Fay funds for book purchases or electronic book purchases between now and the end of the fiscal year. Yes?
Yeah, maybe just beyond the fiscal year too. If any of the bills come like the first week of July, but they're dated for June,
Yeah.
we'd be able to pay them out of Mary Fay. That's the
Okay.
benefit
So-
of.
So purchases
and-
made in this fiscal year.
Purchases made
Yeah.
in this fiscal year. Thank you.
Sorry, it
Okay.
gets so specific, everyone. I'm
I think
sorry.
it's good to be specific. 'Cause
Yeah.
then there's no misunderstanding. So, I have a question about, the parking lot under, have you finished with the budget?
Yeah.
It's in the next area. The DPW was able to move excess debris, the space is open, repair of potholes. I thought they were gonna resurface it. They're not? I mean, with all that work on the sidewalks and all that stuff, they're just gonna patch it, is that correct?
So what I can tell you, my conversation with Mr. Leroy from DPW, who's
Mhm.
the acting operations coordinator, he said that he can guarantee that there can be patchwork done on the potholes over it. As far as like a complete like repave, resurfacing, that's a longer conversation that we have to have with the new DPW superintendent when they start in July. So I will tell you, Jane, I think I agree with where you're going with that. And I think that's a good initial conversation to have with our new superintendent, especially given all of the attention that's been paid to the state roads. But I think it is dependent on what the DPW has as far as budget to do it. And I don't know that
Okay.
there was,
I think,
I don't-
I don't think it's a bad idea to wait till the park is done. And I mean, and then it's gonna highlight just how bad the parking lot is and maybe, have people on our side in terms of getting some money put into it.
Getting some funds, yeah. No, it just seems like it would be the right time since they're there, but I get it, okay. Well,
I,
thank you
I think
for-
there's bigger problems around town too. We've got a couple things in our neighborhood where the pavement has dropped down below gradings, like by 8 inches. So they've at least it's been like that for a couple of years. They've put cones out, but I mean, those things are hazards, so.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of things on their list.
yes, I think that is also, I would echo that, Janet, is that I'm just worried about the punch list for the new superintendent and then how things are gonna have to be prioritized. But I do feel like it's worth reporting to you to make sure that there is follow-up with DPW eventually when he does start, because the holes are not getting smaller. If anything, the parking lot is becoming potentially more hazardous. So there's a couple of holes in particular at the top of the parking lot, closer to the park side, that I think I'm more concerned about, that are harder to avoid, especially if a car is exiting as you're entering. So I kind of have a short list of priority potholes I think they need to look at first. And then I think before anything would happen, they would have to patch those. And it's like you said, Janet, some of the construction from the park, if they're using our parking lot
Yeah.
to house some of those construction vehicles, again, that is going to make those holes bigger. So
Right.
that's a problem. Yeah.
But we don't want to get the parking lot done before they make a mess of it either. I think once the
Yeah.
park's done, then it's a good time to.
We
Okay.
also are about to be entering, potentially a design phase. And one of the things we can look at is the parking lot as a piece of that overall plan. So that might be a good opportunity to look at if we want to do some sort of systemic overhaul of the parking lot. I would imagine that when we start asking for community feedback and we get people together, there is going to be feedback about parking. Every strategic plan we've done, there has been. So I would imagine we're going to get some feedback there.
Well, there's that whole other issue of potentially being able to put the septic system under the parking lot.
Yeah, we
So-
would want to look at that as well.
And in some ways, it's further down the road, but I don't think we want to put a ton of money into the parking lot. I mean, maybe just a little resurfacing, but not a ton of money if we're gonna maybe rip the whole thing up in 2 years anyway. Or 7 years, things usually roll out.
As much as we like to think that the parking lot is, the library parking lot is just for the library, it does get a lot of abuse, I think, especially during this season when the food trucks are happening, and then also during summer when there are additional events. So that is also something, hopefully, that when I'm having my conversation with the new superintendent, I can highlight. So.
Okay, no, it's good. Give him a chance to be here, but Janet, what you said I think is important too. I mean, a lot of damage was sustained during that whole intersection reconstruction too. Not, you know, the heavy trucks parking on it, right?
Right.
Okay, good point. All right, that sounds good. Any other conversation on the director's report?
I think it was just a couple program updates. It was letting you know about some outreach opportunities. The big things were the recreation concerts and the sign for the recreation concerts, let me be specific, and then the Mary Fay fund authorization. So that's it for me.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions beyond that? For Ryan? No? Okay, good. So we kind of touched on the expense report. I think you kind of gave us the highlights and the 44 cents and then 1 cent. And the
Yeah,
payroll.
it looks for the salaries turned back. It's about 16 to 17,000, somewhere in that ballpark. So that is, again, I'll have a final number for you in July in what the turn back was, but it's about the equivalent of a full payroll for us. So that is
So-
mainly because of staff attrition and people being out.
So what happens with that? Does that mean they're gonna putting it back in next year, or we're gonna lose that?
So the library loses the ability to spend that money at the end of the fiscal year, but that money does get turned back. My understanding is to the town's general fund as part of the overall financial picture for the next year.
But next year's budget includes that amount. They're
That's
not cutting us by that amount that didn't get spent this year.
That's what I'm asking, yes.
Yeah.
Ryan,
Yeah, that's because if in a perfect world, and if no one had quit and we were at a full staffed environment, that money would have been spent on salaries. So I guess that's also worth kind of noting.
well,
know,
we
we
know
did-
that.
yeah.
We know that, but do they, you know, does the town?
Yeah, the budgets are long finalized, it's,
The what?
the budgets have been finalized since before town meeting, so we're all set.
I'm just thinking, looking forward.
Well, if year after year, if we're a certain amount under, then it gets harder and harder to justify having the full
Justify.
amount, but so hopefully next year we'll go right up,
Overspend.
just have an extra penny.
Okay,
I will
Right.
say, I'm not anticipating a full-time person leaving in the next fiscal year, but I also don't always get a heads up when
Don't
that
jinx it.
happens.
Don't jinx it.
Yeah.
I was gonna
so
say, not
I-
wood.
Yeah, so I think for the most part, the staff is at least the full-time staffing is fairly stable here. So that said, that it's really when there's a full-time person who leaves that we have a pretty significant turn back. Because usually people are not hired at the same rate. And there's a period where there's an absence, right, in between us appointing somebody, we have to interview and hire somebody. So as long as that doesn't occur, that has happened the past couple of years though, Jane. So that is worth kind of pointing out, is that, Pat left, I think 2 years ago, and then we had Amy Townsley depart. So that there has been a couple big turnbacks, but I can speak to why that is when I'm talking with the town. And I do.
okay, good. So let's move on to the library facade restoration project.
I haven't heard back from the architect or our old OPM at this point. I guess I'm kind of looking at you more specifically, Janet, just on kind of next steps. but would you like me at this point just to resend it to the town's attorney?
I would,
think,
I think so,
okay.
and just note what we're missing.
okay. I think at this point, we can say we've done this to the best of our ability,
Yeah.
and we're looking at what is the next step.
Right. Are they bidding for or I don't know where the process is, but for the townhouse project?
The townhouse is currently under construction as part of the project.
Oh, so are they the architects?
I believe they are, and I think
Well-
the project manager is our same project manager.
Well, I
From
think then
corporate.
we should be able to, that gives us a little leverage on having them complete the process for us, because they're gonna need to do the process for that as well. You know,
I would think, yeah.
Yeah.
You would hope.
yeah, if you need me to do something, but let me know.
At this point, I think it's on me. It's just, I don't want to continue to wait. And then I do feel kind of like I'm doing the same thing over and over again. If I'm just constantly emailing, it's like once every 3 weeks, maybe I try to send out a message or a reminder. And it's just, at what point do we call it? Because if I don't get feedback, and again, I think now at this point, the attorney kicked it to us, said, what can you add?
Yeah.
I think it's a good time to circle back with the town council and say,
Right.
this is our end. This is what we can get
Well,
done.
you know what I'd do is send it to him, copy Mark Purple, and highlight the things that we are missing from the architect. And maybe ask Mark if he could speak to them for us, because they
Okay.
haven't responded.
Okay,
Okay.
that sounds good.
Yeah.
That's a path forward for it. So
Okay.
thank you.
What is PR for public relations on that line?
I think it's preservation restriction was what she was abbreviating.
Okay. Is there something?
Should be the PPR because it's the partial preservation restriction. Sorry.
Right. No, that's what we just talked about, was the preservation restriction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And then Massachusetts Public Library Construction Program.
So I've been to a lot of trainings.
Starts out with a sigh.
Yeah, there are some additional resources I can send you guys. Some of the videos from some of the trainings are up now on the MBLC website. So I'll probably follow up and send you guys some of the information. You can skip the Amplifund grant management training. It is only a half an hour, but it's a long half an hour. I'll tell you that. Yeah, the software is not fun to use. I did kind of talk specifically about Janet and I's role in the Community Center Exploration Committee during the question and answer session. And I will say, when we're looking at a secondary site as part of the design, ask, they do want the property to kind of be what they're calling a viable site option. So in kind of talking about how things with Finn are currently in flux, that is more complicated, I would say. And there was, I would say the construction specialist basically kind of advised that if it's not a sure thing, right? Like if we don't know that the school would 100% be available to us as a secondary site, that we should look at potentially another option. So that's something I'm going to kind of follow up with. And that's also something Janet and I will have to bring back to the Community Center Exploration Committee. But I'm letting you guys know that I did start asking those questions.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of, I don't know if anybody has any specific questions. We are looking at the summer to start launching some of the open forums. MBLC also advises that at least some of the sessions should not be led by me, and that it also might be a good idea to have me not present at some of them. The general conception is that people are not as honest if the library director is there, I guess, potentially making frowny faces at some of the ideas or suggestions. So I think I'll probably maybe host one or two, because I do think I'm pretty approachable and I think I am kind of open to feedback, but I do think there's value in what they're saying. So if there are sessions, I'm going to reach out to the Massachusetts library system. They sometimes have in the past facilitated strategic planning open forums. So I was going to see if they could do one that is more building specific. I did ask if a trustee could host the meeting in its stead, but they kind of had the same concern about me, like that it's a library official and that somebody wouldn't want to be completely honest with them, I guess. So if you guys know anybody who would want to maybe facilitate an open forum about a library building suggestions, let me know. But that's one thing we're kind of maybe looking for at this point.
I
Just a
wonder whether John
neutral
Butler would
person.
do it. John Butler might do it.
Maybe we could ask him.
Are we looking for a volunteer or are we looking to pay someone to do this?
Well, ideally, I think a volunteer
Think of
is
volunteer.
what I'd go for. Yeah.
Yeah, let me think about it, because I mean, do you want somebody who's in the town government or not? I mean, like a select board person or would we rather just have a regular, like Bonnie Faniff, something like that? Although she's heading up the, I forgot that, she's heading the accommodation committee. She doesn't have-
SPAC, the Southborough Public Accessibility Committee. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think there might be value in having somebody who's like less connected to
Yeah,
town government. But that's just a general note. Jane, you were gonna say something, and I think, I don't know if you got a chance to say it.
No, I wasn't. It's okay. I was just gonna say, do you want someone like Paul Mino or somebody who's connected, but you already answered my question. You'd rather
Yeah,
have
I mean,
someone-
maybe just put a call out for volunteers. I would say just start asking around and seeing if anybody is. I know we're the group that's the most excited about the library, but I would say maybe we could find somebody else and capitalize on that interest if that's out there.
Okay. We'll put our thinking caps on.
so we
especially
don't want
there.
somebody who's friends of the library either.
No, no.
Yeah.
No
No, but
friends,
I
no.
do think if you wanted to, I think there's a difference between facilitating a group like that and then also participating. So I would just say, if you're available to go to an open forum and pitch ideas, I don't see a problem with that. But maybe that's antithetical to what MBLC is looking for too. I mean, getting feedback is getting feedback. That's how I feel, right? So I would just
It
say,
doesn't have to be somebody known around town, Could be
no,
somebody-
and it's just, there
Maybe
needs to be
better
somebody, I
education.
think, who can keep the discussion moving, and then also somebody who can like take notes about what's happening. That's the other thing.
So you're
we could-
talking about two people then?
Maybe,
I don't-
yeah.
Well, it'd be recorded, wouldn't it?
It's if we do it on Zoom. I mean, I think that when they were trying to get feedback on the bylaw, some of the bylaw suggestions last year, Zoom was not always the best format for that. I mean, when we did the strategic planning sessions, they were in person at the library. But I'm saying that I'm open to, and again, I just said feedback is feedback, right? Maybe we try to do a combination. Maybe we do a couple of these on Zoom and a couple of them in person.
The
If we
hybrid
did it-
ones are not good. I
Or I'm
think you gotta
just-
do one or the other.
I
Just thinking
agree.
Film
Jane.
it, like have it at the senior center and film it.
I mean, would people want to provide feedback if they're on camera? I don't know, like, I think seniors might give some of that feedback, but again,
Yeah, I don't think you have to worry about seniors being open about their, you talk about this stuff all the time.
I think they think it's going to be posted on YouTube, but if it's just, I mean, I've done like focus groups and stuff and they always record them. So I don't think it's an invasion or anything. You just say these will be recorded for us to be able to, if the moderators say, I don't want to be taking notes, I want to be engaging with you, And I'm
Right.
gonna need to report back, which is true. That should cover it, I would think. I wouldn't have a problem with it. It's, you know, you just say it's never gonna be exposed. It's only, and you know what I mean?
I
We
think
can,
you're right. Yeah. And then people just get comfortable and forget about it, that it's being
Yes.
recorded. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. I think in person is the best idea.
yes, I do too.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's like Jane said, there would need to be like kind of two people. There need to be somebody kind of taking notes.
Well-
But if we record it,
Well,
We
what
could do it
Amy
after.
said, if you record it, you've got it all, you know?
yeah, it's true. Yeah.
But equally, like, I think two people, sometimes it helps to play off each, you know, I think two people is easier than one hosting probably. But it, you know, somebody, it just may work out that one of the two has a better rapport with a certain group. But if they do, maybe we ask two people to commit to doing a couple of them because they'll get their feet wet and know what they're doing, you know, understanding the questions, and just a thought, but that's asking a lot, I realize.
That's asking for someone. Yeah, no, I think it in the best of all worlds, that would be great. But Janet, think of somebody.
I'll think.
There are,
I'll send you
there-
some ideas, Brian.
yeah, and MBLC does like to go back to Kim's question. If we wanted to look at potentially hiring somebody to do this, like a consultant, there is a small list of people from MBLC that we could reach out to. But I think it would be good to try to do a low cost, no cost solution if that exists first.
Well, you know, if we got two people, like one person who's like in the kinder group age group or the school, you know,
Yep.
the school things, and one senior, like a pairing like that to conduct them. Because they'd
You get
know.
both, you get all age groups. I
they'd
think.
bring in their constituents hopefully, and it would get a broader spectrum of
Mhm.
input.
There are also newer members of the Friends group who, you know, even though they've been part of the group maybe for 6 months to a year, they don't, maybe they're not as caught up in kind of the library history and like the full operational understanding of the library that like I would bring, or that even a trustee would bring. So I mean, there might be people from that group who would at least help or take, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Ask
They're
Kim
knowledgeable.
of, you know, all of her younger parents and stuff she might have an idea too.
yeah.
Yeah, last time I helped with the book sale, there were a couple of them there that seemed like a whole.
Oh, they were
different
go-getters.
generation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very outgoing, personable. Yeah. Mm.
okay. So.
That's-
we move
that's-
on,
I-
or what- Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think that's the enough of the, I don't think that there's anything else really to report to the construction update other than a lot of the resources guides are up online and a lot of the trainings have been recorded, so I can share those with you now. Those are going up now.
Okay, great, thank you. So let's move to the next, number 6. Community Center Exploration Committee update.
Kind of what I said before is pretty much it.
That seems like we already covered that.
We've hired the same firm that that did the projections of what we could do with Woodward is
Mhm.
going to do the same thing for Finn.
Mhm.
It's a summer project. They expect to get back to us in September, I guess. We'll be contacted at different times to give input. The
Okay,
money's been authorized, so we're off and running.
that sounds good. Any more conversation about that? Anyone?
You know, with the other thing, well, we're not just looking at Finn, we're looking
Okay.
at standalone things. The seniors would like to have their own standalone facility. So we're looking at a standalone facility for that, a standalone facility for rec, just to be able to compare. Like what the
You
cost
mean
would
an
end up
already
being.
existing one, not building one, something that's already,
Well, potentially building one, what would it cost?
okay,
We're not gonna be able to sell Finn as an alternative unless we've looked at everything else as well.
makes sense.
We also might look at Finn, like, just for devil's advocate's sake, and I don't want to bring us down a rabbit hole, but let's just say that there is a plan and it gets approved to renovate our existing building. right? Which I won't lie is part of what my focus is right now. If that occurs, especially based on the facade restoration project we did a couple years ago, there is no way that we can be open to the public in our facility while it's under construction. So the other thing we may realistically have to look at is even if Finn does become available, we may have to move there temporarily as part of a temporary site while the library is under construction. And we have not discussed that with the committee. We don't even know if that would potentially be an option, but we're gonna have to operate library services out of somewhere. That is something that has been emphasized in those construction meetings. So I'm kind of throwing that out there too, because that's another thought we have to think about.
Okay. Not a good thought, but. So, all right, should we keep moving?
Mhm.
Library director evaluation. I thought we did that.
We're done, all right, with that, aren't we?
I
Oh,
thought we were done
so
with that.
there's a final version of it, I think that was distributed by the chair. You guys still have to vote on it.
Ah.
You have to vote on my,
Hmm.
Goals and accomplishments and everything.
yeah, because all of that, remember, you guys did all the work, it all got kind of collated, and
Yeah.
then there was like a final version that was kind of thrown out there. So I'm sorry that wasn't in your packet for me, but it's, I don't think I'm supposed to be sending you my evaluation, right? So I think everybody did have a copy of that, but if you want to take time to review it, they're due by the 15th of June.
Oh,
So I am diligently working on all the library employees too. I'm like about, I think 2/3 done now.
Has Marguerite sat down with you, Ryan, to go over it and discuss it with you? That's all taken care of?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And then she does ask for my assistance a little bit in reviewing some of the pre-budgeted amounts for like what the feedback was from the finance director on my pay rate, because that gets set in the budget. So that is, I can't really fully remember this because I was very focused on the grade change for the senior library assistants going to library supervisors. And then if you remember, we're also upping all of our part-time people who are below 15 to 15 next year to kind of go with the minimum wage. I believe there was also a slight adjustment for me. I think after they interviewed me, it was determined that because like, you know, a lot of the kind of like administrative stuff behind payroll, the billing, you know, a lot of that I do myself, where there's an admin assistant in other departments who assist with that work, which is fine. I'm not complaining, but I do think that the ruling was that like my pay was adjusted higher than the 4%. So I think that's what the rate was set at, but that came from the finance director. It didn't come from me. And that was, I can tell you the amount that was in the review is what the approved budgeted amount was. Does that make sense to everybody?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay,
So the last email I have from Marguerite was from May 12th, which was the performance eval we discussed in the last meeting along with the goals. And in that one, she said the next steps are Ryan adding in his comments and salary, et cetera, info. So I guess I thought we were still waiting for that stuff to be added in.
okay.
Gee,
Can you bear with me for a moment?
Yep.
While I look this up. I apologize. I should have reached out to Marguerite before.
she's been a little busy.
yeah, I'm sure.
So there isn't a lot of substantive alterations to this, I think, because you got everything that was done on your end. But there is a version with my comments and the pay scale that was sent back to Marguerite by me. So I'm gonna send it to all of you now so that you can review it.
You want us to review it right now? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I don't think my comments are going to shock anyone. I think you have to, I'm sorry you didn't get this ahead of the meeting. You don't have to, I guess we could look at not approving the review this meeting as a result of this.
But we have to have it done by the 15th.
It's supposed to be done by the 15th, yeah.
Can we, everybody's disappeared. Oh, because you're looking at your thing. I'm looking at it on my phone.
I haven't even sent it yet, so I'm gonna do
Okay.
that
It's not
now,
there.
but
It's not.
Yeah. Can we approve it pending review of your comments?
sure, I mean, we could also set a quick meeting for like 10-15 minutes before the 15th. Just because you guys, it's like Jane said, you shouldn't be reviewing it in the middle of the meeting, right? You should have a chance to go over the whole thing. So,
But we
That
did go
could-
over everything
We
else.
did go over everything else. Could we say what Janet said? Let's,
Yeah,
pending review of your comments, we can.
right, because your comments wouldn't change our comments and it wouldn't change the salary. It would just be your comments.
yeah,
Okay,
Okay. so
Well,
say
I mean,
that
does it
again,
make,
Janet.
it doesn't seem to make sense to vote on something that we still have to review.
I think
So-
you were supposed to have gotten the
what do you-
review in advance of the meeting.
Yeah,
So
no,
I-
no, I get that,
Yeah.
and this is totally fine, but it doesn't make sense to me to approve it not having read it.
So Kim, what do you suggest we do? To have another meeting?
I mean, we can either have another meeting or I guess read it now. I mean, so if you're saying that if we approve it now pending our review of the comments, then what's the follow-up to that?
We get to review the comments and then come back and.
But when do we
Well,
come back
we'd
to,
have to
I
have
would say
another
it
meeting.
next month, because his comments aren't going to change our approval of the rest of the,
I just sent it to all of you. I do think reading through my comments will take you guys 5 minutes. Because there's the section on the front, and then there's the section on the back, and then all of the anniversary pay scale information, all of that was entered. I'm seeing in the draft, my SAP grade was not entered, and that's 8. So that's the only thing that needs to be updated before this gets submitted to the town. Do you want to just take 5 minutes to read through the comments and then,
Oh, yes, we need 5 minutes.
I'd like to get it done rather than try and schedule a meeting next week. I've got kind of
Yeah.
a wild week.
yeah, I agree.
is that okay with everybody? Because I don't mind being kind of quiet for 5 minutes, having everybody read it, and then we can come back.
I think
Okay.
that's the best solution. Let's take 5 minutes and read it, okay?
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks.
I apologize this didn't go in advance.
Okay.
Well, that would have been Marguerite's job, yes?
No comment.
It doesn't matter. We'll just read it now.
We understand she's been tied up.
She's been busy. Has everyone read it? It wasn't. Or still happening. David,
You're briefer in your comments than usual.
let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready. I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm ready, but I'm, I seem to have nuked myself out of the connection here. Let me try again.
Your face is here.
You're here.
You're here. We just heard you, saw you. You can't see
She's
us.
talking about the connection to his email, to the,
No, I've gotten the email, but I can't jump on the, I don't see you all right now.
comments.
Oh, all right. Just make sure you've got video on.
We can see you, so.
You can still see me? Okay,
Yeah,
Yep.
we can see you.
all right.
Okay.
Oh, you probably have another screen open and it's covering up or something.
That's probably the case, yes.
Did you read
Okay.
the employee
Did
comments?
you?
Yes.
Okay,
Good.
that's the
So
important.
would someone like to move that we accept the library director's evaluation?
I move that we accept the library director's
Evaluation.
evaluation. Thank you.
I'll second it.
So,
From 2022, I guess.
2022, 23, or 22. Okay, Kim Reagan,
Aye.
Amy Asdani,
Aye.
Janet Maney,
Aye.
David Eckberg,
Aye.
Jane Davis, I. So, the motion is
Amy, did you second it?
approved.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Amy seconded it. Okay,
Good.
fantastic.
I think it's technically my FY24 evaluation.
Okay.
I'm saying this, but I know,
FY 24,
yes,
Really?
because, because it's at the start of the fiscal year. This
So-
is like a weird thing with Eris, is you're always like a year ahead. So
Okay.
like, because my pay rate is the FY24 budgeted amount, you're reviewing everybody in their FY24 review for the previous fiscal year. So it's like the FY23 stuff is in the FY24 review. I know, Jane, this is like
That's
one of the
weird.
really annoying things that I have to
Well,
deal with.
We'll
It's
say it's
all
the
right.
review that was completed in May and June of 2023.
That would be good, I think.
that's good.
Is there a signed copy of this, Ryan?
No, so Marguerite and I will sign at the end. You'll note that there's a thing in my comments where I said I might recommend like updating or revising some of the phrasing or the grammar. Marguerite and I did go over all of that, and we actually jointly decided that there didn't need to be any changes to any of the comments. So she did sit down and talk with me. Then we went over where the pay scale was. The only things that need to be changed on the cover sheet are where it says employee title, it should actually say library director and not just director. And then under the SAP grade, it should say 8. So those two things need to be revised, and then we sign and then we submit
Okay,
with my self-eval. There's also a management certification form that we have to do for all the employees, which is basically a cover sheet that the personnel board gets to certify that the review was done. So all of that is just sort of a retooling of the information on the first page. So there will be kind of a completed version of the review that we can give you guys that includes the self-eval you've already seen, the review that you've really already seen, and then that certification form. So you'll see what that looks like with the completed version.
Okay,
Marguerite needs to sign it, or Jane, if Marguerite's unavailable. So
oh, she'll be available. We'll find her. All right, what is a public comment? Is there something we don't know about?
no, so we just add public comment into the agendas, just in case
Oh.
there's members of the public that attend the meeting who want to contribute anything at the end of the meeting. We
Okay.
are live on YouTube. I did get us live, I think, shortly into the minutes discussion. And
It
then
says
there
so.
is no members in the attendees on Zoom. So we have no members of the public who have joined us.
Okay. So is there any other business that any of you would like to discuss?
Next meeting, I guess.
the
Mm,
next
Good
meeting.
point.
Yes.
It would normally be July. You guys like doing the second or the third week? The second week, right? It would be
July 14th,
the 14th.
That works.
that's fine.
Fine with
Okay.
me.
All right, July 14th is our next meeting, 11 o'clock. Is it still on Zoom?
Yeah, the Zoom approval went through to 2025.
Okay.
You guys always have the option to do an in-person meeting if you so choose to. So if you ever want to have that discussion, just let me know. I know
we
one
not
of you
have-
wants, I know one of you wants to be in person, and I'm looking at Mr. Eckberg.
You got that right.
Do we need to discuss it?
I've been one of the strongest proponents of Zoom meetings. I think they're convenient and they're whatever, and even if you're sick, you can do it and stuff. But I'll tell you, it did upset me at the candidates night to find out that Kim Regan had been in a car accident last year that I never heard about and had to have surgery and everything. It's like, yeah. Maybe
you
we
don't
should have a
see.
little sharing of things times or something. I wasn't happy about
And
that.
maybe we should have a go out for cocktails night or something.
Yeah.
I think
Just
that
don't
would be more
discuss the
productive.
library.
We can't
That's the big
discuss
thing.
the library
discuss the
though.
Right, that's okay. We just go out as friends. That would be good. So,
Yeah.
I
That's a good
will.
idea.
I will say, I know the summer is typically very difficult for people schedule wise. So maybe if you do want to consider like an in-person meeting, you know, you could do one of those every so often. Maybe the early fall is not a bad idea. So that could be something that we kind of.
sure,
that-
during back to school and when the world becomes absolutely crazy. That's a good idea, Ryan. Because I've spoken
Okay,
like
now
someone who
that-
doesn't
that
have
sounds like
kids,
sarcasm to me.
right?
I do not have kids, that's correct. And I do forget
Yeah.
about back to school, that's correct. So I'm.
I'll tell you, when your kids get out of school, though, the summer just seems to stretch right through September because
That's
everything.
great.
It's
Yeah,
a
it used to
free-
do that when before school too, but
Yep.
It's sort of a
Right.
free for all. All right, well, so if there's, did anyone want to keep talking about that? Amy, just send us an, what is it called? An email and pick a date for, dinner and drinks or something.
okay, yeah, I can do that. I'll find a place. I can, I'll send out like a,
Or maybe
what's it?
we'll just come to your house.
That's fine too. Okay, so we can do a doodle poll or something through Ryan because I have an account, but all right, everybody have a great fourth. Oh, I motion to adjourn the meeting. Do we have to-
Second,
All those in favor, I mean, David,
I,
are you, Kim,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Janet,
aye.
Jane Davis, aye. The meeting is adjourned at 12:03 PM.
That's a record.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good job,
nicely done,
Jane.
Jane. Nicely done.
That's right. Awesome job. Have a
All
good
right.
fourth, everybody.
Yes,
You too.
all right.
Take care.
Thanks,
Bye.
Ryan. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah,
Oh, I know. I had a question. Do you need any more
Yeah.
books for the book sale?
sure. We're still accepting today and we have volunteers all day. So
Okay,
if you can come today, Janet, the answer
yeah,
is
I can
yes.
go right upstairs and fill some bags.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
we are accepting.
Okay,
Great.
all right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good,
Bye.
good to see you all. Take
Bye.
care.